You might be wondering just how much juice kids should really drink. Well, some new guidelines just came out, so let's talk about it. So if you haven't heard, last week the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with an update to their juice guidelines for kids. And most of the guidelines are pretty much the same, but there have been a few changes. And these changes have gotten people talking, of course. So I thought this would be a good chance for us to just go through the new guidelines so you know what they are, then also to talk about them a little bit more. So the new guidelines are no juice from birth to 6 months. Then from 6 months to 1 year, they're recommending still no juice, except for if it is medically indicated. So an example of that would be if a child is constipated and their pediatrician determines that giving a small amount of juice, just like you would give medicine, would be right for that child to help deal with the constipation. Then from ages 1 to 3, the guidelines are a daily maximum of 4 ounces, and then from 4 to 6, it's 4 to 6 ounces as the maximum, and then for children ages 7 and up, the daily maximum is 8 ounces. Now I know I just spit a lot of numbers at you, so I will list all that below the video, and I will also link to the full guidelines for you if you want to go over and look at them a little bit more on your own. So now that we've talked about what the guidelines are, let's talk about why I think they are a good idea, because I think a lot of times people think of juice as a super nutritious food, or they think that drinking juice is the same thing as eating the fruit that juice comes from, when really it's not the same thing. When you juice something, you're taking out the fiber, and fiber is really important just in general for a healthy digestive tract, to keep things moving the way we want them to and all that kind of stuff. But you also have to think about if you were to sit down and eat an apple, you know, you have to pick up the apple, you have to chew it, swallow it, and then your body has to work on it a little bit, whereas with juice, you can just kind of kick that thing back and you can consume a lot more in a lot less time. And also think about the number of apples that it would take to make a glass of apple juice. That's a lot of apples. It's a lot more than you would probably eat in a day, and certainly more apples than you'd probably eat in one sitting. So you just kind of have to keep that in perspective and remember that when we're talking about juice. Now let's talk about the pediatric guidelines specifically. So no juice from 0 to 6 months totally makes sense, because babies aren't having anything other than breast milk or infant formula during that time. During that period, their little bodies aren't ready for other foods yet, and also you have to remember that they need breast milk and formula because they're super nutrient packed food sources, okay? You know, if you're bringing in other foods at this time, then that could push out the breast milk or push out the formula, and that could mean that a baby isn't going to be getting everything that it needs. Moving on, let's talk about 6 months to 1 year. So during this time period, the American Academy of Pediatrics is also recommending no juice, except when it's medically indicated, like I mentioned earlier. And that would be something you would discuss with your pediatrician. And this is the guideline that's got people, you know, talking a little bit, because it is a change. The prior guidelines said that, you know, you could have juice included from 6 months to 1 year, but now in this update they're saying no juice. And I think this is a good idea, because if you think about it, from 6 months to 1 year, a child is still getting a good chunk of their nutrition from breast milk or infant formula. Now, of course, the food that they're eating is providing some nutrition, and as they get older, they'll be getting more and more nutrition from the food that they eat. But the breast milk and the formula are still definitely at play here in a major way. During this time period, food is really a lot about exploration. It's about learning. It's about learning that food is different from other things, that we eat food. It's learning the different flavors and the different textures and all of that kind of stuff. That's a lot of what's happening during this period. So we don't want juice to come in and either displace the breast milk or the formula, because they definitely need those during that time. And we also don't want juice to come in and take the place of whole fruit, because we want children to be able to learn about the different fruits and be able to experience them in their whole form, prepared in an age-appropriate way. And for kids of all ages, juice does not provide a nutritional benefit over whole fruit, and juice isn't required for a healthy, balanced diet. Again, the whole fruit has the fiber, and it's also really easy to overconsume juice. Also, for kids of any age, excessive juice consumption is associated with tooth decay. So in these recommendations, they also give a few guidelines for how to provide juice to your kids if you are giving them juice. First off, you want to give juice with a meal or snack in a cup. It isn't recommended to provide juice in a bottle, and it also isn't recommended to give juice in any sort of container for a child to carry around and sip on throughout the day. Having that constant juice supply means the teeth are being washed with juice over and over throughout the day. And again, excessive juice intake is associated with tooth decay. I'd also add here that if a child is drinking juice throughout the day, then that could interfere with their appetite at meals and snacks, which means they might not be getting a variety of foods. Now, I do want to point out that this is not about demonizing juice. I've seen some people get a little stirred up about these new guidelines, and I think it's because they feel like someone is saying that juice is evil, but that isn't what's happening here. I mean, we don't want to demonize any food. Juice certainly has a place in life. No one is saying that you can never have juice again for as long as you live, but it's just about recognizing that we don't want to be over consuming juice. We don't want to be getting excessive amounts of juice no matter what our age. And with these recommendations, we don't want to be giving juice to children that are under 1 year old because it's not going to be offering a nutritional benefit, and there's also the other issues that we've already discussed. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about these guidelines, and had you even heard about them before you saw this video? And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you are new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and updates on nutrition news like this, then make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.